All right, welcome to the Transfer Talks podcast. Had a little break, but we're back. It's your co-host Ashmit with co-host Neil. Super special guest today, Arda, who's a transfer to UC Berkeley for CS. So we'll be hearing his story today. So Neil, would you like to get it started?
Yeah, for sure. So Arda, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your story in your words, what was important and how you got to where you were.
Yeah, I'll tell you about my story. My name is Arda, junior studying computer science, transferred here last year for computer science. I moved to the United States 5 years ago now from Turkey. I didn't know any English at the time when I first came here. I mean, I knew a little, but like very basic yes or no, That's my Spanish level right now, which is like terrible. Um, I moved to the United States with my family, went to Torrance High School. After 5 months of going to high school, COVID happened. So that was tough, trying to learn the language, culture, make friends at a foreign country during an online learning period was tough. But in that quick 5 months period, I was able to, connect with a lot of teachers with my limited English. I embarrassed myself a lot in places. Luckily, my high school, they had an English language learning program, so the teachers were talking slow to me and like explaining, and I was able to use like Google Translate and everything. COVID happened, and during the COVID, I realized that like I wasn't learning anything, I don't think anyone did. So I said, if I can't learn anything, I want to teach something. I realized that not many people knew about my culture, Turkish culture, the food, the music, language, anything. So I was like, I realized that then there are a bunch of student clubs too, which we don't have a lot in Turkey. So I was like, okay, how can I create my own club? Talk with a teacher, and she was happy to, be advisor, created the club. The club did very well. First, I started with my close friends of 5 to 6, and then we started with online meetings. The My goal was to teach them about the Turkish culture, and and then I would offer them, I would be like, hey, you want to go to university? You need community service hours, very valuable. I'll make events where you gain community service volunteering hours and you'll just learn about the culture one hour a week. And on top of that, I was like, once we get into in person, I'll give you free food during the events. Online went like that, and as soon as we turned into in person with masks and everything, I started doing the community service events like beach cleanups, food banks. I went to Children's Hospital, at St. Jude's Hospital. I've done a bunch of other events for senior citizens, like community and stuff. And I was doing this mainly because I just wanted to, get like the Turkish knowledge out there. Um, and high school happened like that. I graduated from high school and applied to every single UC, and San Diego State School. And I got rejected from all of them, waitlisted from a couple, but they end up being rejections. And I graduated from high school with a 4.0 GPA. I took AP Computer Science, but because I couldn't take APs because up until 12th grade, I was in like ELD classes, I barely knew English. Um, so I had high hopes for high school. That was kind of devastating moment for me as I got rejected from even San Diego State School, which was kind of I was aiming for like high schools like Berkeley, LA, San Diego, and San Diego State was like the safety, and I got rejected from them. I was like, I think we're fucked up over there. And then on top of all these, graduating from high school, I was awarded I was recognized by the counseling department out of like 5 students, recognized by um, the English language department out of 3 students, and I got a scholarship called Invest in Future from Torrey Pines High School, which was awarded to 5 students out of 3,000 students. I got all these things, good events, got rejected from high school. That was my high school experience. That's where I'm coming from. And then I had a friend who went to community college a year ahead of me, a year older than me. And he was like, bro, if you're ambitious, if you want to go to good college, you got to start taking summer courses. CS, very competitive. And I didn't want to lose any time. As soon as I graduated from high school, took summer courses. And I took my thing seriously. The rejections from schools kind of ignited me to, or like pushed me to do better because I just wanted to prove myself to myself. I was like, there's no way I'm not getting into these colleges. Um, Community college, I started with A's. The first counselor I met in community college said it was impossible for me to transfer to a four-year university in 2 years with computer science. I was like, okay, adios. Booked another meeting with a counselor. That was actually the first counselor I met in the community college. So one tip to everyone who's listening out there: meet with different counselors, meet with a bunch of different counselors. They're humans. They make mistakes. You don't want to. I have a lot of horror stories about my friends, getting screwed up because of counselor mistakes and classes here and there. Community college experience, I get in and I'm like, what can I do in community college? Oh, also in high school, I was in associate student body too, as a technology commissioner. And in high school, I applied to computer science for all of the um, schools again. And in 2022, if you look at the data, the acceptance rates kind of dropped in half. My roommates were in even better, worse situation because they're like, my roommates are one EECS, one math, one chemistry, all from Mecosta. One of them, like 4.5 GPA or something, did a bunch of like two varsity soccers and or two varsity sports, and they also got rejected. So 2022 graduating from high school was a little different. Community college, as soon as I get in, take classes during summer, 8 units during summer, and then I had a full pack 20 unit, 21 unit, like after back-to-back semesters. I joined to associate in student government in community college. I joined to computer science club in associate in student government. I started as a vice chair of inner club council. And so in high school, I had my own club. In community college, I started as vice chair and then eventually got elected for chair, and I was overseeing all the student organizations. And from there, in 2 years, I was able to complete the uh, I was able to complete the community college, and then this time I applied to UCs again, all the UCs again, and this time I got into all of them for CS, and I chose Berkeley for obvious reasons, and that's kind of my story.
It's
That's
awesome.
great.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a crazy journey. I think like definitely transferring, coming in like just 5 years ago, and just making that whole like shift in a new and including like COVID and whatnot. It's definitely like difficult. I wanted to kind of like talk about more, elaborate more on like your community college, um, your time at community college. What were kind of some strengths? I know you mentioned you got elected in student body and you had a couple other extracurriculars, but what were kind of like your strengths and also like what were your weaknesses um, going into application season?
Definitely strengths. GPA is definitely a strength. Going in, I had 1B, three, so I had like applying to UCs after the spring, I had 3.96 GPA. So we gotta take GPA out of the equation because if you're applying for competitive majors, like GPA is gotta be there. That's the first thing, unless you have
Yeah,
extra.
I have a quick follow-up real quick
Go
just
ahead.
before. Yeah, by 1B, so like the transfer academic update, like were you considering like all of that? Did you like submit like a transfer academic update for your winter stuff or
Yes, I'm considering all of that. And then last semester is not considered,
yeah,
like
yeah.
very last semester. And then in that last semester, I got like three Ds.
Okay,
Because
okay,
in
for
that
sure.
last semester, I already knew that I got into Berkeley, and then Berkeley said you like get Bs or better. And I was like, okay, I just got Bs.
Hmm.
But that's considering, after the academic update. Um, yeah, so GPA out of the equation. On top of GPA, it's not only about GPA. GPA, like everyone has GPA. So what makes you different? What makes you different? What's your storyline? Very important. And what kind of challenges you've been through. So I'm not a traditional white American, applying to college from high school. I came from another country. And then I think my strength in my applications were I was able to tell how I come into school. I've done a lot of good things in high school with like knowing no English and learning English, and then getting rejected from all the schools that I applied to. That's where like most people would get discouraged a lot. And most of my friends in high school who did community college, most of them did really bad on their first year because they also got rejected from most places or all places, and they were discouraged a lot. And when they transferred to community, they were like lost and they did really poorly on their first year, which kind of affected their transfer status as well. So in my application, I was like, this didn't stop me. Getting rejected from everybody did not stop me. And I still kept like pushing really hard during community college, not only with academics, but like I said, the association student body, clubs, definitely my academic, I didn't do tutoring or other academic stuff. I'm more like, I'll do good on classes, but like I'm more like a social, like what can I do out there? Outside of classes, like classes are already there. I've been involved in high school, I've been involved in like different sports like sailing and stuff. So I was still talking about my high school experience too, because high school experience was still part of that. It was connected to my community college journey. Those are my strengths in my application. The good GPA, good storyline, not giving up, and just keep pushing, and having done a lot in community college. Weaknesses, I mean, having 1B might be a weakness, especially for CS, where in my cohort, only 27 or 30, less than 30, I think. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it was like less than 30, because we were all in a room when the school started and someone asked how many people transferred to CS. So 27 or 30, something like that. The data is going to come in February, so it should come out really soon, the transfer profile data. So we'll see how many people transfer for CS, but it's really like low percentages. Um, so that could be my weakness. Weakness number two could be, I don't know. I'm also coming from a low income, so that's like a plus too, because I'm achieving all these things while being a low income. And then as because I was a low income, I was also working, both doing community college. Oh, I also missed an important a detail. In community college, I got an internship at Cancer Research Lab in San Diego, Scripps Research. And that was definitely a really big plus, having a research experience. I don't know how I skipped it. And that's funny. I'll quickly mention how it happened too. I met with the guy on the streets. Don't know the guy at all. Don't know he's working at Scripps. I'm just chit-chatting, and then he's like, yeah, I'm just chit-chatting. We start talking about my car at the time, because I did DoorDash for 2 years during COVID while everyone was locked down. I collected a lot of tips because like everyone was scared to go out, and I was doing DoorDash. Um, so I earned my money and then bought a car. And then we were talking about my car, and then he was like, "So what's your future plans?" I'm like, "I go to community college, I want to do this and this." And I said, "I'm interested in, doing UCLA's big program. It's like biotechnology program." And it's like, "Oh, my like ex advisor is actually a director of that program." And then we talked more, and then he was like, "I see the young myself in you. Do you want to have a coffee chat? I actually work at Scripps Research, and like you might be a fit." And then he was like, "Do you have any lab experience?" I said, "No." "Do you have any biology experience?" I said, "High school biology." And I was like, "But I don't have those experiences, but I'll learn." Um, and I said, "I'll bring like good computational knowledge." So, um, and then we went and had the coffee chat. Definitely impressed the guy, but he was like, "That dude, you don't have any experience in wet lab, like nothing. You never been here. You have zero experience, so I can't pay you." I was like, "Fine, don't pay me. I'll prove myself." He was like, "If you prove yourself, we'll start paying you." So for 6 months, did not call out a single day. For 6 months, I always showed up on time for 10 to 15 hours a week. Always showed up on time, did whatever he said exactly and put more on top of it. Always I followed up, like always like, bothering him, asking him questions. I learned the biology that I needed on the job. I learned R over there for visualizing. I learned how to, because the data sets were so big, I had to work on virtual machines. I learned how to work on virtual machines, Linux, everything. I learned everything on the go. And at the end of 6 months, I was like, "Dude, I need money. Like I'm running out of money." And I was like, "If you can't pay me, it's okay. But I have to like for it was summer, and I was like, I have to get a summer job." And it was like, "Okay, let me talk to the lab manager." And then they started paying me. They were like, "We want to keep you in." For summer, for 3 months, I was also working there. So I worked there for 9 months. And I might be on a paper in the future if he finds something. The work I've done is very significant and in production. So that was definitely a big plus that I forgot to mention, and I'm happy to, answer more questions about that too.
Oh, that's great, dude. It looks like you made like the best out of your community college experience. I see like a lot of people, they just kind of go to classes, they put their head down and then they go home after. But like it looks like you actually like went out and did extracurriculars to the best that you could. So like my kind of question to you is like what suggestions would you have to community college students where there's like maybe a lack of like opportunities to get like big tech internships or kind of like that to actually like put themselves in the field?
Yeah, so definitely a correct observation there. A lot of students just go to their classes and go home. With that mindset, it's really hard for you to go somewhere. My mindset was, how can I make, how can I squeeze everything from this experience? I didn't look, most people look at community college as a failure. Okay. Most people look down on you. It's okay. Now I transferred to Berkeley. I did the 2% cut and everyone's like, how did you do it? Well, I've worked hard. Um, it's about self-motiv Community college requires a lot of self-discipline and self-motivation. No one's gonna, push you from your behind trying to get good grades on the classes or trying to find an internship. If you are complaining, people say CS job market is tough. It is, but it's not impossible to find a job. I applied to like 150 jobs and I've done like 10, 15 interviews. And I got two full-time offers for this summer, one from Pfizer, one from Comcast. They're like Fortune top 50 companies for next summer. Is if by complaining like community college students, the opportunities are out there. I'm coming from a country where you actually, if you work hard, you're not gonna get anything out of it. Like it's like small, tiny chance. In the States, if you work hard, your chances of getting something is way higher. The opportunities are there for you to find it. They're like gold in the mine. You just need to try hard enough. I was applying for that summer, like before I found my biology internship, or cancer research internship. I was applying to jobs, regularly. But I was applying to a lot of jobs, doing interviews, but didn't hear much, because didn't have much experience. This would be my sophomore summer. Didn't have much experience. Actually sophomore year, like at the start of the sophomore year. But then, something happened. Obviously, luck is involved. Luck is always involved. But at the spot, I didn't know that guy was working as because it's always about being open to other people, making connections. Even that guy was like I had no idea that guy was a scientist. Even if that guy was like a worker at the street, I would still have the same conversation about the future, like what I wanted to do. Is you never know like how you're gonna find it. It's always keep your hopes high, and if you try hard enough, you'll come across something, and one door opens another door. Because of that Pfizer Scripps internship, I was able to get a Pfizer internship, which I rejected, because I wanted to discover more about cybersecurity, which Comcast offers, and a better pay. Um, but the advices that I would give to community college students right now, struggling to find jobs, experience, any experience counts. Okay. If you tried, like how many jobs did you apply to? Before you start complaining, how many jobs did you apply to? Start with that. Before you start complaining, how many people looked over your resume? My resume been reviewed by like 10, 20 recruiters, people, counselors. Everyone put their feedback. Is you get out how much you put in, that thing. So the advice is definitely how much you've tried, and if you still can't get anything, try harder. And if you still get anything, try to do something by yourself. See a student, do a bunch of projects, attend to hackathons. I attended to hackathons with that when I had the coffee chat with the Scripts guy. I was like, I have no experience in what you're doing, but I have experience in attending hackathons. And I showed SDSU hackathon, and I was like, here, we developed a healthcare application in this hackathon where I like handle big data, and you're handling big data. It's healthcare, I can make the connections there. Attend the hackathons, improve yourself, get certifications. If you cannot find an opportunity doing these stuff, having your resume reviewed, applying to 150 jobs or more, like doing all these will improve your chances of getting. Just keep trying. You'll get it eventually. And then once you get your first internship, it will open more doors. You just gotta keep trying hard enough. Um, I have a lot of friends in Berkeley as well. They have better grades than me. They're smarter than me maybe, but they don't have offers for summer and they're like, dude, the job market is cooked, CS is cooked. It's not, I did it. If I can do it, everyone can do it. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Great. No, I definitely resonate with that. I think a lot of people at community college, they like kind of close the door because they feel like nobody's going to give them a shot just because they go to community college. But there's also a lot of opportunities like exclusively for community college students. Like there's a Berkeley TTE program, which is like summer research only available for community college students. And there's also a couple other ones. I'll try to drop it in the description. We post
Yeah,
this.
UPenn also gives one. Um, yeah, drop it in the description.
Yeah. But like one thing that I hear, especially for like CS and EECS for transferring to Berkeley, is like completing the strongly recommended classes, which is like 61A, 61B, 61C. So I was wondering if you were able to complete those before you transferred.
Yeah, for me, no. And what I would suggest to people, you should. Well, I did complete my strongly recommended courses on assist, but like my community college courses are not equivalent to Berkeley courses. Only 61B have counted. 61A, CS70, and 61C did not count. But like on assist, like when university is reviewing my application, I've done the strongly recommended courses. But one tip is look on assist to see uh which community colleges are giving equivalent courses to 61 ABC and CS70. Or the community college, I mean, it's not the same as learning in Berkeley. If you actually want to, challenge yourself and learn, you can just take those 61 ABC and CS70 in Berkeley. So they're definitely more challenging. I got into last semester I did CS 61A, CS70, and 47B, which is half of 61B. And it was challenging. I got into 61A thinking that it was a basic Python course. It was challenging.
Yeah. No, definitely transferring for CS is like the most competitive across the UCs. Do you think there's like one specific part of your application that helped you stand out?
Um, I think like the highlight was my Scripps internship, like cancer research internship. Because in that research internship, I was actually able to tell my story about how I got in there without knowing anything and developed an application automizing everything that we're doing, like cutting cost and time. And, I was able to tell them, they didn't pay me. And then because I was doing such a good job, they started paying me. And I didn't know biology at their level. I learned biology. I didn't know R. I learned R. Oh, also, when I was applying on my application, I actually, um, it was on January. I got it on January and I submitted the applications on November. So I was like, I'm gonna be getting into this job. So I didn't talk about what I did actually. So I don't know what else. I mean, I talked about the highlights of my application. I mean, it's probably those, but Scripps Research was I didn't start it when I did my application, I didn't start working there. So all these stuff I didn't have a chance to talk about in my application actually. So that's irrelevant for college applications. But I still put Scripps Research on my application as I was like, I am gonna get this job in starting January, and this is what I'm gonna be doing.
Great.
That's awesome. So like now that you've like transferred to Berkeley, um, kind of what trying to see how I can phrase this question. Like what have you learned about yourself? Did you like kind of like shift to more engineering, or do you still want to continue down the path you originally wanted to? And what are your future plans after
Yeah,
that?
the future plans right now is to explore as much as possible. What I realize about myself is I can just do anything I want to do. Some people have doubts about, oh, I don't know if I can get into, I don't know, like I don't know, say cybersecurity or say software engineering because I'm not smart enough. I never had that doubt. In Berkeley, people talk about like imposter syndrome and all those. I never thought about those because I don't compare myself with other people's in a way where like they're smarter or they're better because there's always gonna be someone better than you. Like don't compare yourself to your peer. Well, you can compare yourself like how much you're working and maybe you gotta work harder. But if my friend got an A and I got a B in a class, I tell to myself that's because I didn't work hard enough, you know. So and I tell to myself that if I work hard enough, I can get an A too. And then next time I try to work hard enough. But what I want to do is to explore as much as possible. So in the past, I've done biotech as scripts, and then in community college, actually, I also joined a program called Breakthrough Tech AI. Look it up. It's an 18-month cohort program, and then they teach about machine learning foundations from Cornell University. You get a certification, and then they put you in an industry partner. In that case, I was working with American Express on machine learning models, two-tower model. And so I've done I've done ML. And for this summer, I want to experience something different. So I chose cybersecurity. I was also applying to project management just to see. Personally, not really have interest in software engineering because software engineering it's like always there. It's like too classic for me. I wanna explore like something different. So this summer I'm doing cybersecurity. I want to get into project management, like technical. I want to get to cloud a little bit. So I want to get into those and what else? Yeah, I mean, and then we'll see after that. We'll see after graduation what I want to do. They're like clubs in Berkeley, which I didn't get into, funny enough. Like when you transfer to Berkeley, the clubs, everyone says this, but they're not the most friendly to transfers. You can still make it, obviously, because my roommates did it, but it's just a little bit harder. You just gotta try it hard enough. And I look at like what I put in and what I'm gonna gain, and then the math didn't work out for me, so I was like, I'll pass on. Um, but look, I'm gonna get involved with different clubs, maybe product management too, get a taste of those. The future plans kind of look like that right now, just to explore and see like what I enjoy the most and then just go on from there. Also, I want to mention that I got the cybersecurity internship with having zero cybersecurity experience, zero minus. But in the interview, I didn't even know that because I was doing so many interviews, I didn't even like I forgot to check that the interview was gonna be on cybersecurity. And then I got into the interview without knowing anything about the job. And first question the recruiter asked me, so tell me about a time where you had to deal with some cybersecurity problem. And I was like, oh, it's a cybersecurity. So I was like, well, I don't have any experience in cybersecurity, but I also didn't have any experience when I got into cancer research lab. And I also didn't have any experience managing a lot of money when I got the chair of inner club council. But I'm a quick learner, I'll learn and I'll do it. And then I passed that. And as soon as I passed the first initial interview, I started looking at the certifications and I saw Google cybersecurity certification. So before my second interview, I was like, hey, the same story. And I was like, also, I'm completing the Google cybersecurity certification right now. And then that was like enough to impress them. So it's always like you're basically playing a chess. You gotta play it by the rules. You gotta impress them. You gotta market yourself. It's all about marketing. You gotta market yourself properly, and you will get a job. You will get an internship. You will get to wherever you want to do. Like set a goal for yourself. You'll do it if you work hard enough. If you play by the rules.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think like as you mentioned before, mentality is like the biggest factor in this, especially, like I can also relate with you, graduating with like a low high school GPA. It kind of also ignited that fire. And I kind of realized early on that, having the right mindset is what's really going to carry you throughout your time at community college. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much. We're running out of time, but thank you so much, Arda, for coming on and kind of speaking on your story. I know a lot of kids are kind of like very lost in that sense of how can I like maximize the time in community college? And I think you answered a lot of the questions really well. So thank you so much again.
Yeah, this is what you guys are doing is definitely really good. It's something really good. When I was a transfer, when I was in community college, I only had one friend that was a year ahead of me, and he was able to like guide me on like he was like, dude, talk with more counselors, they make mistakes. He was like, get summer courses because you're not gonna be able to finish it. So like this is very helpful. Try to have someone that is a year older than you, like that someone that you see in the same goals, like someone you admire. And I try to get help from them, watch the other episodes of this, watch the CS people or whatever major you're interested in, or it doesn't even have to be the same major. Just see the storyline because when you're applying to colleges from community college, it's all about your story and it's all about how you market yourself. Think of yourself like a product and you're trying to market it to, customers.
Hmm.
If you're a customer, just gotta see your selling point, and then go from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.